Hello, everyone. In our session today, we speak about environment and climate risk screening and the greening tools. So here, like modern international investment and infrastructure design can no longer view environmental hazards or climate vulnerable as external factors. Asset protection, early diagnosis, screening, secure investment against physical climate impact and rapid regulatory shift. Don't significant harm. Ensure development programs avoid causing accidental ecosystem degrading or social disruption. Strategic greening actively transition our normal design pipeline to identify proactive options for carbon reduction and ecological restoration. The two-pronged approach to risk screening, physical exposure assessment, flood, heat wave, transition risk, carbon compliance, market shift, ecosystem vulnerability mapping, green tooling, integrative low carbon resources streaming, enhancing operations circularity, and zero waste load. Adopting nature-based ecosystems safeguard. The climate risk screening workflow, a classification to typology. We have high risk, require deep mandatory climate impact assessment and structural engineering redesign. Moderate risk requires specialized risk mitigation clause built into operation protocol. Low risk normal parameter apply with minimal baseline documentation requirements. So data sources and diagnostic screening framework will live localized metrics from specialized analytical tools, use specialized hazard mapping catalogs, long-range climate down screening model, historical regional weather baseline datasets. Key screening framework, environmental impact assessment, a classic project level to design to systemically forecast, evaluate, and mitigate the physical footprint and infrastructure plan leave on local air, water, soil, and communities before permitting or issue. Strategic environment assessment elevated screening up from isolated projects to broader national policies, regional master plans, and sector-wide investment framework ensuring systemic green design at macro levels. Core greening tools and toolkits, greenhouse gas accounting, calculating life cycle emission footprints across the scope, water parameters, establishing clear data boundaries to monitor baseline reduction. Green building certification applies structured framework metrics to enforce strict efficiency, limit on resource, electricity, water development. Shadow carbon pricing, internal corporate accounting tool that assign artificial regulatory cost of greenhouse gas emission during budget titling procurement preference toward the counter alternative. Circular design toolkits. Framework guideline built to mandate to the sourcing of secondary raw material, minimize manufacture waste, regeneration, and specify components for future end of life recovery. Institutional integration in the green taxonomy. Global commercial ecosystem utilize clear classification rule books to determine if economic activities qualify as sustainable assets. The rule of green taxonomy standardized financial rule books like EU taxonomy that set target techniques performance threshold to compete greenwashing and guide investment capital. Multilateral Development Bank standard operations safeguard deployed by groups like the World Bank, linking fund release to successful competition of proactive environmental risk evaluation. Climate adaptation and the nature-based solution. Nature-based solution, proactive design and intervention that leverage existing ecosystem dynamics to address infrastructure and resilience challenges simultaneously. Costly security, restoring degraded mangrove network to natural buffer, raising storm surge instead of constructing concrete seawalls. Urban heat control, developing active green roof array and city canopy network to mitigate expanding micro-urban heat extreme. Coalition systemic green implementation, building resilient project cycle, integrating screening mechanism and strategic greening tools, transform environmental governance from a checking the box compliance process into a value generating asset. Securing early systemic implementation, protect infrastructure investment, guarantee regulatory compliance, and drive active pathway for long-term ecological restoration. So here are a strategic target, integrated operational life cycle, de-risk infrastructure asset, validate carbon pathway. See you in the other session, and thank you for your patience.